guys, so this is your poetry. It's more of a reminder lesson because what we're going to do for your poem for your mom is just require that you put in one example of each of the figurative languages that we learned. Remember, they're all comparisons. They're all essentially metaphors, but we're going to do each specific comparison individually. So one metaphor, one simile, and one personification. So if you remember figurative language, say it with me. Comparing two very unlike things in order to exaggerate or clarify or further describe whatever it is that you're comparing. Now, the metaphor itself, again, comparing two very unlike things. So you don't want to be comparing like your mom to a nurse or something like that, because those are both human beings. So try to do it more of your mom to something that is not an alive thing. You know, your mom to a I don't know, a
sunset.
your
Sunrise.
mom to a sunset.
Something.
Or sunrise, yeah, just beautiful warmth your mom has, something like that. Sorry, I had something in my head earlier and I lost it. So anyway, so one of each of those, a piece of figurative language to help you write your poem. Like Cassie said in the morning message, we're not requiring any particular number of lines or number of stanzas, just that you put a real full effort into this poem. This is for your mom. They normally do a ton for you, but they've probably done even more for you in this time that you're spending learning at home. But either way, you really want to show that you care by putting some good time into this poem. And of course, we will ask you to post your rough draft once you get something written, and we may have you add some to it. But at the very least, we'll make sure that you have your 3 examples of figurative language comparisons, one metaphor, one simile, one personification. Remember, when you're doing personification, that your mom is already a human being, so you wouldn't want to personify her with another human being, kind of like I said with the metaphor. So if you have questions, obviously you can ask us on Slack. If you also want to make sure when you turn in your rough draft that you do your format correctly. So Cassie's got her poem here that she wrote to her mom. And it was in relation to the art piece that she showed you earlier or that we've posted in the video that she did about the art project. So notice how all of her lines start up against the margin line, the red line, right? When she got to the end of the line and ran out of room, she came down here and indented. That's what you do when you run out of room. She has skipped a space between each line. You don't have to do that. That meant that she needed to skip 2 when she did a new stanza. So if you are going to skip a space between lines, then you need to skip 2 when you get to a stanza, but you don't have to skip a space between lines. She just did that for her own visual effect, which looks really nice. The other thing you want to keep in mind is that you don't have to limit yourself to just the 3, right? You can do more than those if you want to. It's up to you. So,
and remember, guys, so when you turn in your rough draft, so Pete and I can look at it, make sure you put P, S, or M next to the line, so we know that you know that it's a personification, simile, or metaphor.
And just really quickly, I was going to say it before, I forgot. Just really quickly to remind you specifically, so the metaphor is the comparing of the 2 things that are very unlike, again, for exaggeration, for clarification, for an extra description. And you're doing the same thing with a simile, but with a simile, you're using the word like or as. So my mom is now like a sunrise, spreading her warmth. Whereas with a metaphor, my mom is a sunrise. Now, you don't have to say it in so blunt terms. 3rd years especially, you've done whole poems that are metaphors. So you could do that again if you wanted to. You just have to throw a simile or something in there. And then again, in personification, comparing something that is not alive, that is not animal, to a human being. So you could compare something else to your mother in that personification. But since your mother is the topic of the poem, you probably wouldn't want to go too crazy with too many personifications. Just make sure you get one in there. All right. So good luck with all of that. And like we said, let us know if you have any questions. And just really quick, because I wanted to say that it would have been perfect if I had thought of this when we picked our word for the week during being free, is that Cassie's bird is now free. We saw her fly up onto a branch. Well, we didn't actually see her fly, but we found her up on a branch in a tree, and now she's not there anymore. She's not on the ground anywhere, so we think she probably made it her flight even better somewhere up high, and hopefully is free now. All right, so get cracking on your poems. Remember, to really show that your mom that you care. There's a lot of things you have probably pointed out to your moms that they have done wrong or in your opinion, because of all the space that you've had, tightness, and all the helping that she's given you, and all the different things that you guys are doing together. So you think about that. You might have been pointing those kind of things out to her. So now it's time to point out some things that your mom does right and that you really appreciate about that.
And you guys remember, the poem is an art. It's an art piece. And so you're always refining it and revising it. And so please don't get upset when you turn it in, and Pete and I are working to help you create a better writing piece. So we'll never switch your intention because that comes from your heart, but we will help you be a better writer. So remember, rough drafts, never done with writing. Okay, goodbye. Love you.